It is time to take a deep breath right here on a mental health break. Please remember, you are never alone. I launched this show after suffering a traumatic brain injury, and as I recovered, I learned the importance of prioritizing my mental health, and my guests and I will help do the same for you. Let's enjoy the episode together.
I think people who have struggled are always inherently somehow waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that's it's a trap, because the fact of the matter is if the other shoe does drop again, if you've done your work, you have tools and resources and a support system that you didn't have the last time the shoe dropped. So your starting point is going to be different. And then, recognizing that there is an element of being able to go through these things in different seasons of life. Look, I can tell you,
It's time to take a mental health break with a great mental health champion whose goal right now, his mission is making mental health resources readily available. I love it, Jason. Thank you so much for joining the show.
it's a pleasure to be here, Vincent. Thank you.
Of course, everyone, it's going to be really great for us to learn about all he has to offer because it can help a lot of us in our journey. But first, let me welcome all of our viewers and listeners to a mental health break. My name is Vincent A. Lancey, and I want to thank you so much for taking care of your mental health with us. This is going to be a value-filled show, a new mental health advocate to add to your connection list. You are never alone. And today, as I mentioned, he's revolutionizing mental health. But I always do, Jason, like to start a little further back. Please share your mental health journey from wherever you feel comfortable and then what led you to this great work.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm happy to share. More than a decade ago, I went through my own dark night of the soul. I will tell you it's a breakthrough, but it was absolutely a breakdown. I can tell you I lost my money, my mind, and my way, and had invested a lifetime of effort and energy into building a life that just was not meant to be sustainable. And it dropped me to my knees, so to speak, and really put me in a position to really evaluate, recognizing that most men coming from the world that I had come from probably would not have made it out of that story. So I knew that had some gratitude for the fact that I was still here to be able to move forward and do that with any sort of understanding. But really, it put me on a path of recognizing that, again, the life that I had built was not sustainable and really wasn't meant for me, and gave me an opportunity to reevaluate, what did I want for this next season of my life? So I was 37 when that happened. I'm 51 today. And really from that thoughtful exploration and those really painful dark times, recognize that, kind of the catalyst for my moving forward was really about how do I show up in service of others? So what that looked like practically from the beginning was I volunteered like it was a job for a mental health organization. For those of your listeners who know NAMI, it's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I volunteered for an affiliate here in Colorado that really led to me becoming a support group facilitator for more than a decade for individuals struggling with mental health conditions. It led to me becoming the paid president and CEO of that organization. I was the executive director for our state NAMI for some time, NAMI Colorado, and really just recognized the value that I got from being in service of others and recognizing that I had an ability to rebuild my life in a way that really aligned for me that I didn't see other people really having. And I didn't think that I was novel or unique, but it really sort of reframed the fact that I think, showing up in inspiration of this has the capacity and ability to serve other people. For anybody who knows NAMI, it was designed by parents sitting around a kitchen table in the late 70s, but was really focused on serving chronically and persistently mentally ill and their loved ones. And, as I moved through this, I did not fit into that category. While many of the people that we served did, I recognized there was a broad swath of others who were left out of the conversation. The people who lose a job, lose a loved one, loss of a relationship, like we go through in life that is kind of a natural course of life, and recognizing that everyone struggles. That conversation was not well represented within NAMI. So in 2018, I formed an organization called Connection Project. Our website is realpeoplereallife.org. And really the focus of that organization was simply to strengthen and deepen connection to ourselves and others. And from that understanding, that it could serve everybody, really recognize that you cannot market to everybody. So what that has looked like practically over the last 7, 8 years really is building large scale social impact campaigns that could have a podcast series attached to them, but primarily getting people connected to resources in a shorter way, and recognizing in my own journey when I began again, getting connected to resources was really hard. And I realized I came to that conversation with a lot of privilege. I was an educated white guy that had a supportive family. I had some resources. Like all of the boxes should have been checked for me to get the help that I needed. And it was just too hard. And I would love to say in 2025, I think that we are markedly better, and we are better, but not nearly the way that we should be. And so my focus has really been on how do we shorten the I am struggling to I got connected to resources line in the shortest way possible. And my work is wholly focused on that.
Well, congratulations on how far you've come, and building this whole platform to help other people in your shoes is truly admirable. You said podcast. I'm surprised you don't have your own podcast. You have this presence about you where you definitely could shine, I feel.
I do. I have two of them, actually.
More about that. I didn't see that on the sheet.
Yeah. So I have two podcasts. The first is called Get Unstuck and Move Forward with Your Life. It started as a radio show that was a live radio show that has evolved into being a podcast. It was hosted through an online platform called Voice America. I have a best-selling book of that same name, Get Unstuck and Move Forward with Your Life. And then I have a second podcast called Nobody's Perfect. And Nobody's Perfect was a follow-up to a previous podcast called Teen Talk that was really focused on working with youth and talking about the challenges that they're facing, specifically impacting their mental health. And from those conversations and research that we've done in my organization, we created an initiative called Nobody's Perfect, nobody'sperfect.community, which is a cadre of resources that have been vetted by a team of clinicians to support youth, families, parents, caregivers, providers, educators, specifically those supportive of youth around the challenges and the topics that they're struggling with and facing. And the podcast series was built around that to connect with primarily it's adult aged parents to get them connected to the tools and the resources and educate them on the things that their kids are facing today. Because, let's be honest, there is no handbook on how to parent, and we are navigating really murky waters when it comes to mental health for all of us, but specifically for younger generations that are, moving into adulthood.
And it's so, again, admirable in another way where you're helping these kids. I volunteer in schools too, where there isn't as much support as you wish there were, especially after COVID. There may be more mental health presence in places, but I mean, it takes a village, right? We've heard that before, and you're definitely playing your part. Now that you've recovered, right, you're finding this great success. I know you still have to take care of your mental health, right? It's not a one-time fix. What are some things that you do, some tools in your tool chest that we can help out our audience with?
That's a great question. And I want to be clear. When my life came unraveled and I lost my money, my mind, and my way, I worked recovery like a job. And I realized, again, from a place of privilege, I had the capacity that I didn't have to jump back into supporting myself. I wasn't raising kids or had a family or any of that. So I was solely able to be focused on me. But what I can say in serving thousands of peers that struggle with mental health over the years, the thing that I recognize that is the foundation of recovery is choosing the things that you can do with commitment and consistency. And like I said, I worked it like a job. I mean, I went to therapy twice a week. I got sun on my head. I took the meds that were prescribed to me. I saw all of the people that I needed to see to help really support me. And I think it's really important when we're struggling to recognize that you are not the only person that's ever been through whatever you think in your head is unique to you. Like your circumstances are unique, and I want to hear that. But I guarantee you that there is somebody that is on the path that is further along than you are that can meet you at that place and walk with you. And just the awareness of recognizing you don't have to do this alone, I think is hugely important in having the courage to seek recovery. And it is possible.
And you have not only this podcast, you heard he's got other mental health shows. So be sure to go ahead, check those out, because you never know whose story will resonate with you most. And I think it's very important. Again, like you said, you are not alone. You hear me say that all the time, but
Sure.
It may seem taboo or cliche, right? But it really is the truth. There is someone willing to listen. I promise you. You just have to have the courage to ask. And I know it's hard at times, but you can do it. I believe in you. Now, Jason, what's next with this project you're working on, this community you're building? What else can we expect in 2025?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Currently, we are really delving into technology, specifically AI, and we have built a tool that will triage support resources for an end user. But we also are building a tool that will integrate into healthcare systems to help coordinate care and get people connected to resources more quickly. Because look, at the end of the day, when you seek out help, my goal is to get you connected to human connection more quickly. But the reality is a human on the other side of that phone call or in that waiting room or wherever is really still only as good as what they remember, what they have access to. Did they eat breakfast and are they firing on all cylinders? So like we're really trying to take the technology that is available and get people connected to resources more easily and more quickly and more thoughtfully tailored to their specific needs. I recognize that when I was struggling, really what I needed more than anything was somebody through that season and acknowledge the fact that there are steps you can take that can make a difference. And, I think all the time about we overlook getting sun on your head, getting enough sleep, drinking water, connecting with a loved one. Those things matter. And I'm not saying they're going to be the fix, but are you doing those simple things that you can do to support yourself that really can build on and make a difference in your mood state? Like, I just think it's important to remind people again that they're not alone and there are steps that you can take. And if you're really struggling and need more serious intervention, that there's a clear path because let's be clear. And you know this from your work, Vincent. I mean, mental health is not something people talk about until it hits their home usually. And even then they don't want to talk about it. So like my goal has been to how do we raise the blinds on these topics that we're all facing? Again, as I said earlier, everyone struggles and just to normalize, these are conversations that are okay to have and should be normal to have.
Oh my gosh. You're doing such great work. And
Thank
it's the truth where the more we talk about it, the more normalized it is. When you break your wrist or you hurt your arm, what do? You recover, you go to rehab, you do the things you need to get back. The same needs to do for our mental health, because if we're able to get ahead of things, it doesn't have to challenge us for a lifetime, right? Or we can find tools and resources to work through this and not let it run us or debilitate us, but us actually sit in the driver's seat. So great work there. In your mental health journey now with this company, say there's someone that they're inspired by you, Jason, right? They want to start something bigger than themselves in mental health. What was one of the harder parts of starting something in the mental health realm for you when you were first getting going?
I think there were a couple of things. One, it was the awareness of the people that I expected to be in my corner, that they were not. So the people I relied on and counted on, they weren't there, which really triggered a whole lot of unworthiness for me. Like, I mean, the reality is you just have to find that 20 seconds of courage to take the next step. I mean, where I see so many of us fail, there's two things. One, I think people who have struggled are always inherently somehow waiting for the other shoe to drop. And it's a trap, because the fact of the matter is if the other shoe does drop again, if you've done your work, you have tools and resources and a support system that you didn't have the last time the shoe dropped. So your starting point is going to be different. And then, recognizing that there is an element of being able to go through these things in different seasons of life. Look, I can tell you, like, I used to have a huge real estate and construction business and very different life, and recognizing that I had put all of my effort and energy into that and it was not meant to be. So if I had tried to rebuild or recreate the same life, I likely would have been really miserable and not gotten to experience the fruit that's come from doing this journey in a way that really fills my cup. Like I made a lot more money in that life, but at the end of the day, I wasn't happy. And I think there's an element of, if you're considering it or thinking about it, that seed has been planted for a reason. I'm not saying you have to take action today, but listen to what you're being given and ask for the guidance to lead you to what are the next right steps. Because, as humans, we're all walking up a staircase. And I think most of us start the conversation at the top of the staircase versus recognizing you only get up that staircase one step at a time, maybe two if you're really fit and agile. So every step matters, even the smallest step. So like every step matters. Take whatever you identify as the next right step.
And if you don't start somewhere, we can never get anywhere. So without small steps that compound over time, you said it perfectly, we won't arrive at our goal. And it's always important to not get overwhelmed by a big goal or anything, because we could take small, manageable steps to get there. So it's great awareness for you there, Jason. Being out in Colorado, You mentioned sunlight before. Is nature a big part of your mental health tool chest?
I think it is. I think getting out in sun is really important. I live in a high rise and I have the most insane views of the entire front range. So like I have a lot of gratitude for just getting up and being able to experience that. But like, wherever you are, if you don't have that opportunity, I mean, create those small moments for yourself that you can really just plug in and get connected back to kind of the essence of you. Like, I don't think we're trained to take time for ourselves. And I cannot stress enough how important and how valuable it is. Like getting 10 minutes of sun on your head, walking around the block, like it will shift your mood state. I'm not saying it will fix what you're going through, but it will shift something in you. And those moments I think can build upon and inspire us to take more steps and move forward. So if you're feeling stuck, like what's one thing that you can do today and you think you could commit to maybe for the next 5 days or 10 days, like, and do it.
I love it because once you get past that week, it starts to become a habit. I know there's a lot of
Right.
science around what day that is, but the more you do it, the quicker it becomes habit forming. Great there all around. And I don't want to breeze past too quick. You mentioned you got 2 mental health books. Let's at least talk about them for a sec so we can learn where to get them.
I have 2 mental health podcasts. I have 1 mental health book. It's called Get Unstuck and Move Forward with Your Life. And really, it's for anybody who has felt stuck anyway in their life. There's a lot of personal story in there, but it's certainly peppered with like the action steps that I did. A lot of the things that we talked about today, it kind of drills into that. You can get it on Amazon or you can get it at my website. You can get unstuckbook.com, but it's Get Unstuck, Move Forward with Your Life on Amazon. That was a big undertaking to take that on. I want to say writing a book was something I always felt like I had in me. And
Good.
after I did it, I immediately moved into this space. So I could do that again. So, I want to encourage anybody that's listening, if there's a seed that's been planted, like put some thought into, are you going to water that seed? Because I mean, things can happen that you cannot imagine just from putting the effort and energy into it, even small effort.
I know it's so true. A book changed my life. It's the best business card I never knew I needed. But before I let you go, Jason, you gave a lot of great advice throughout. But what is one piece of advice you can offer to someone who is struggling today, really needs some help today? What can we offer?
That's a great question. And I say, stop right where you are and find 3 things you're grateful for in that moment. Doesn't have to be big, and it should probably be more than the fact that you woke up and you're breathing. But if that's all you can do, that's all you can do. And focus on gratitude. It does change what you see in your world.
Does I start my day with faith and what I'm grateful for, and it sets it for the rest of the day.
The work we're doing is growing to be national. Currently, we are in Colorado, but I'm a super responsive guy. So if somebody wants to connect and get in touch, you are not alone.
I love it. Well, where can we find you online?
So my websites are realpeoplereallife.org and nobodiesperfect.community. There are outreach tabs on either of those websites. You can send an outreach. It'll come to me and we will get back in touch with you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Everyone, be sure to connect with Jason. He is here to help. He is up to big things in the mental health space, and he has resources for you. My name is Vincent A. Lancey, and this is a mental health play. Please remember to subscribe to stay current with our mental health champions. And today, we're signing off across the country this time. Colorado over to Florida. Jason, thank you so much.
Thank you, Vincent. It was a pleasure.